Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to Celebrity Natal Charts. Today, we are going to be looking at the natal chart of Zooey Deschanel, who was born in Los Angeles, California, United States, January 17th, 1980, at 6:57 a.m. And I don't know, I guess I wanted to say before I started this reading that and maybe this has something to do with her energy, but I was like, before I start these readings, I always sit in the worst chair, like the squeakiest chair, and put on my most velcro-y, squishiest jacket, and I'm trying to figure out why that is. But anyway, Zoe Claire Deschanel was born January 17th, 1980, is an American actress, musician, and songwriter. In 1999, Deschanel made her first film debut, which is kind of redundant, in Mumford, followed by her breakout role as Anita Miller in Cameron Crowe's 2000 semi-autobiographical film Almost Famous. She also often sings in her films. I think I remember her from Elf. Wasn't she an elf? I feel like that's very significant. Anyway, but January 17th, 17 in the tarot is the number of the star. She's a Capricorn. Her birth year is 1980. Her name is Chloe Deschanel. And her ascendant is in, I believe, Capricorn. Yeah, so this is the Capricorn Rising Capricorn video. She essentially has sort of a Capricorn, Virgo, stellium going on in her chart, or at least that's a lot of her dominant planets seem to be Capricorn and Virgo. But as we established in the Zayn Malik video, that she has a Venus in Pisces, and that is why she is so cute. Okay. So, squeakiest chair, swishiest jacket, water all the way across the room. Water, I need it. Okay, so she has a rising Capricorn. I want to see. Okay, so we'll talk about her Chinese sign in a second. Let's just look at that first. Let's change it up. Let's be different. How are you guys doing? You guys like Zoe Deschanel? What is the guy Winston? You know, what is that show called? That guy, that I feel like he's a Libra. I don't know for him to be a Libra, but the black-haired guy, the sort of square jaw black-haired guy from the show that I also don't know the name of, that has Zoe Deschanel in it. He is I feel like a prime example of not being. Oh, she's a monkey. Oh, cool. So that's why her and Zayn Malik are so cute, because they have Venus in Pisces and are monkeys. My Venus is not in Pisces, but also I'm not as cute as them. You know what I mean? But he's I feel like Mitch. I know his name is Mitch in the show. I feel like he's this prime example of not being able to codify beauty, because it's you might go to a plastic surgeon and hand him somebody that looks like him or his photo, and he's very handsome, but it's it still doesn't stick out in a significant way, or sometimes he's too handsome. He has that show with Cedric the Entertainer, and I'm just are they gonna start kissing? He's always a porn face, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Anyway, Year of the Monkey is a significance to people born in 1944, 1956, 1980, 1992, 2004, 2016. The monkey is born under the sign of fantasy. He is imaginative, inquisitive, and loves to keep an eye on everything that is going on around him. Which I agree with, because in my mini videos that I talk about Monkey and how much I love Monkey, how Monkey is Goku, he's Son Wukong, he's other Goku, and the other Goku from other animes. And with that, being imaginative, inquisitive, and taking notice of everything that's going on, he's and I could be wrong about this myth that I know about the monkey and the Jade Emperor's race, but it's I obviously know it for a reason. You know what I mean? So it's if you know a bunch of stuff about Bigfoot, but you're oh, but Bigfoot's not real. It's well, obviously, for whatever your life's purpose is, for a joke, or, for a joke, or for a bag, or for a relationship, like you obviously have all this Bigfoot knowledge. Um, and so Mitch, we don't like. Deschanel, we do like. Okay, and then she has a rising Capricorn. So being a Sun Capricorn with the rising Capricorn, I feel like is sort of when astrologers feel like the most hoisted by their own petard, where they're like, oh, you don't know anything about astrology. All you know is your sun sign. You're stupid and bad, right? And they're like, okay, well, I was born at, 6:57 a.m. Birth time accuracy excellent in Los Angeles, California. What can you tell me now? It's like, oh, well, see, you're not a sun in Capricorn. Um, you're a rising Capricorn. And then it's like, okay, well, what does that mean? So it's like you look and you act like the way that you look. Which, I guess if you asked, like, her acting style, like, she looks kind of zany. Her name is Zooey. Uh, so she acts the way that she looks and she looks the way that she acts, right? I would say like anybody that knows Zooey Deschanel would say that that's like a very accurate interpretation of her. But other than just the sun, the moon, and Mercury all being in her first house. Let's double check that. Sun, moon, and Mercury. Anything else in Capricorn? Her ascendant also being Capricorn, as we've established 80 times. So I said, so like she looks like how she acts how she looks. But with the moon and Mercury there, it's like, so her voice, like, I guess, she doesn't have a um, uncomfortably deep voice or an uncomfortably light baby voice that you wouldn't expect from her. Like she looks like how she sounds. Like if you spoke to her on the phone, you'd be like, oh, I kind of imagine that you would look this way from your voice because of Mercury there. And she looks how she feels with the moon. So it's like if she's having a bad day, like she might brush her hair a million times, but her hair will still like go up with static electricity or something or anything just to portray how she's feeling. Um, which I get this feeling of like being very difficult on set, but not on purpose. Problem child, problem child, but like not on purpose. Like always, the problem is with her. And then her second house is Aquarius, so she gets a lot of money from her friends. Her friends are like her biggest financial resource. It also says like charity. So maybe like hosting charities, getting roasted for charity might bring her a lot of finances. Or might be a good like the cash cow, like it's whatever you're milking, So um, she could be milking her, internet or television fame from different streaming sitcoms, which could be her cash cow. And then her third house, we have Pisces, and also Venus, and I was saying that's what makes her so cute. But then also, like, she is cute, she sounds cute. I don't know if Mercury and Capricorn in the first house means that this person sounds cute, but it's like they sound how they look. So I guess, like, if she were to not be as cute, she would probably sound a little bit more like scary or menacing. Um, Third house in Pisces talks to me about growing up in an environment that's um, very spiritual or very like show business oriented, which born in LA, so that's sort of like my background knowledge. But without any background knowledge of where she was born, I would say that her family and her environment growing up was very spiritual. With the fourth house in Aries, her home life may not have been the most safe or secure. I do see like the strong presence of a father and a lot of like masculine energy around her mother. So I don't think that she was like really ever left too much alone. And maybe that's an issue. Whereas like a lot of Aquarius suns and Leo suns experience a lot of like abandonment issues from their parents. Perhaps like her mother and father were very like um, very much the opposite of abandoning her, whatever that is, giving her too much attention. And then, she could have been like some type of, like pageant child, or like, taking those jazz, tap, and ballet recitals and things like that. Tiger parents. I don't know what you would really call them. And then her fourth house, um, we have Taurus and also Chiron. In our fourth house, we have Aries. So third house in Pisces, fourth house in Aries. Like I said, spiritually aggressive homeland. So I don't know. There might have been like uh, LA. You know what I mean? So I'm not trying to base everything off of LA, but like it could have been, I guess what I know about LA. Like a lot of gang violence, but mostly led through like sadness and anger and religion. So maybe there's like a huge like religious tie to whatever gang violence is going on in Los Angeles. Fourth house in Aries. This is where I was saying that there might have been like a lot of anger, but also like anger in her environment, sort of like how I said about Flavor Flav, where it's like just an aggressive city life. Hey, I'm walking here, get out of here. You say something about my mother, like Aries in the fourth house, your mama. Aries in the fourth house is a lot. Is very much like someone screaming out "yo mama" at you, your mother, and her mom being like a very tough, aggressive person. And then, like I said, she has the fifth house in Taurus. So fifth house in Taurus, all these planets in Capricorn does talk about being like sort of like famous for being like doe-eyed and having brown hair, seeming a little bit country, which I know she plays like a ukulele. I guess like typically people wouldn't label that as country, but like Hawaii is a country. Um, but she's very like Mumford, like hometown. What do you call it? Like 1860s, Portlandia sort of vibe to her. But this is also, it's like, I don't know, like maybe she can like acclimate people into that energy very easily, with her Chiron also in Taurus, but it's something that she struggles with, or maybe ascending out of that pigeonhole or stereotype or era of time, really, like, early 2010s of like Mumford and Sons and hipster bands and beards and things like that. Which I don't know. She could literally be like the next Superman for all I know right now, and I'm like, her career is over. Or I don't know. I don't know what's popular, Superman or Bat. She's like the next Batman or something, and I'm like, it's done for her. Um, but so that's her fifth house in Taurus. Fifth house in Taurus also talks about like her obstacles in life or what distracts her, which could be like money and finances. I mean, as a Capricorn, it seems like she'd be doing very well with that. As an actress, maybe not. Maybe too many sexy distractions. Taurus does talk about like the New York Stock Exchange and how she's supposed to over. I mean, like I feel like having Chiron on the fifth house is also very difficult because it's about having wounds that you're unable to heal. But you can heal in other people. But how she's supposed to get over that is her sixth house in Gemini, which is to start talking. Talking, connecting with her family. Isn't she in the Mighty Gemstones? Is that her or somebody else? I don't know. I should like actually maybe do some research. But yeah, it's like Mighty Gemstones. TV televangelism would be really good for her. Like a really good career choice for her. But it's like how she heals other people and how she brings healing to other people is from her sixth house in Gemini. And also the best people for her to work with would be Geminis as well. So I don't know, his name is Schmidt or Mitch, but I think Schmidt and Mitch are both two characters in that show. Nick? I don't know. I should Google, but this isn't about them. Um, but so like, talking to people, creating community, and maybe also just like giving explanation. As I'm saying, like, she's like a problem child on set, and her members are coming to my mind. It's like, oh, well, like, it's not, I'm not trying to be controlling or a diva, but this is what's going on, and I need this, and my skin is doing that, and blah, blah, blah. My hair won't stay down. And, so what is it, Sixth House Gemini? Yeah, and then, I mean, I guess, like, a lot of her life is about her environment with her family. I wish I knew the name of that show that she was on. It's like a show, and they're all living in an apartment, and there's like five of them, I want to say. Winston, Mitch, Schmidt, which we might be the same person, and her, and I think some other people. And it sort of seems like her chart kind of talks to me about that show. Maybe it's just because that's what I remember her from. But it's like living with your family, living very close with your family. And I do sort of see Aquarius as being more like chosen family, friends that act like family, and Gemini being your actual like cousins, nieces, nephews, whatever. But Gemini can also be classmates or people that you used to work with, especially Gemini being the sixth house. So, like, maybe she spent some time living with Winston or Mitch or whatever, like during the production, or maybe they just felt like they were living with each other and yada yada. Um, so that's Gemini. And then with the very healing sixth house in Gemini, she has a seventh house in Cancer, which meaning that a really good mate or spouse for her would be a Cancer. I would honestly say mate, business partner, someone to have an affair with. If you are at a party and you're alone, you need someone to talk to. I feel like her gravitating towards the nearest Cancer in the room would be her safest ship to sail on. Seventh house in Cancer. She might change cars a lot. And like I said, like a good spouse would be someone born with the sign of Cancer for her. Eighth house in Leo does talk to me about her wanting to be famous for being spiritual or psychic or her knowledge of the occult. I mean, we are brainwashed with so much Scooby Doo. I think everybody just wants to be Scooby Doo all the time. Um, and it's like once you get like five people together, it's like before Power Rangers, before um, Rugrats, or I don't know any other group, Party of Five. Who wants to be Party of Five? Other than any of those situations, I think all groups of friends are like, oh, we're like Scooby Doo. Let's get a dog. Um, and then there's also like mysteries in life and clues and things that you have to find out. Um, but that is her seventh house in Leo. Everybody wants to be Scooby Doo. And then her seventh house is in Virgo, which she also has Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, and her north node in Virgo as well. And what does all that mean? That means that. So Jupiter in Virgo, I think, is like something that I'm trying to iron out the actual meaning of, because to me it seems like, especially for somebody who works in the entertainment industry, it's like the more you do menial jobs or take in smaller amounts of money, it'll like be luckier for you. So, maybe she, does like odd jobs in between projects. Maybe in a lot of her projects, she portrays people that perform odd jobs, and then it's like humble. It's like being humble to me, in my interpretation. Like Jupiter and Virgo, it's like being humble, working a humble job, dressing humbly, which I feel like she does. Is very lucky for you, brings you a lot of good luck and fortune. I guess like if she were to walk around with a giant like crown on her head and like a glowing green plumb bob, like I am the Diamond Queen, it would be very unlucky for her, as most Capricorns might, or as a Taurus might, or she might want to. And then Mars and Virgo in the what did we say this was? In the ninth house. So the ninth. So Mars and Virgo in the ninth house. That talks about like her acting like a Virgo, so she might be like, so Virgos, they say, are neat freaks or OCD or hypochondriacs or something. I do kind of get like a hypochondriac energy from her, even though I'm not a firm believer that all Virgos are neat and clean. Um, and what else was in Virgo? Saturn. So it's also a limitation. So maybe she does. Maybe she wants to play like Celine Dion or like what's her name, Marie Antoinette or something, and she's like, why do they always put me as like the coffee girl or something, or like playing like I feel like I don't know. I've never really seen a lot of her movies. What movie did they say that she was in? I do feel like I saw Almost Famous, but it's like I don't think they really like portray her as a queen so much, and it's sort of like a limitation for her. Like maybe she's looking for roles where they portray her as a queen, and she constantly has to play a princess, um, which maybe has to do with like the cute babiness of her Venus and Pisces face. North Node. North Node, it's, I mean, like Virgo, it's like working on a farm. It's like an apothecary, healing people, especially in this position, and like having a lot of knowledge. So she might be some type of like earthy healer, spiritual Instagram person, TikTok, whatever is in the future, Futuregram. Uh, and it'll bring a lot of good luck and fortune, like her being around like bucolic views, and a like earthy environment. Maybe I don't know how Los Angeles is. Like, she could have grown up in a mansion that felt like a farm, but maybe she needs to be somewhere a little bit more like Maryland or Virginia or New Jersey. Um, what are they called? Breadbasket states or something, or whatever the equivalent of that is in California. And then also ninth house in Virgo. That means, so seventh house is like affairs, so she'd be like hooking up with cancers, and then ninth house in Virgo, like get married to a Virgo. Long distance, long term relationships best done with a Virgo. Her 10th house is in Libra, so it's sort of like her destiny to be like pretty and nice, but she is an actress. But she also has, I want to say, Pluto in Libra as well, which sort of makes it seem like it kind of kills her. Like, I don't know, maybe there's, I feel like maybe because I'm okay. So like every Capricorn video, I'm always like, oh, Capricorn is a sign of like being of like ugliness, like things that are ugly, like abuse, like alcoholism, Whereas like Libra is sort of like the sign of like the cocktail, like the first espresso martini you have at the beginning of the night, and it's beautiful and it's garnished and it doesn't taste good and there's no alcohol in it, and all that type of stuff. Whereas like Capricorn is like, not even to say that Capricorn is Jim Beam, but it's like someone who's like drinking Jim Beam, or someone who drinks nine of those nasty little espresso martinis to the point that they're not garnishing them anymore, and it's just kind of like, you know, and which isn't bad. Like sometimes you need to eat or you need to drink, and you don't necessarily need garnish and whatever, whatever. But it's like almost like if she doesn't take the time to like pray before her food or garnish her food, or like there's like certain things that like triggers her OCD, and it makes her think she's like gonna die. You know what I mean? She's like, like, and I think that's the thing about OCD, is that I think it's like a very spiritual condition, more so than a like neat freak germaphobe Virgo condition. I think it's more of like a Scorpion thing where you're like, I'm superstitious about this. I need to perform these rituals. Which Virgo and Scorpio right next door to each other, so that they're similar energies. But it's like Pluto, Libra, so it's like if things aren't in balance, if the plates aren't garnished, she might be like a real jerk at Starbucks or something, like, oh, this was made wrong or whatever. It like kills her inside. Maybe it's because she strives for so much perfection as a Capricorn, Eight of Pentacles. She's like, how are other people like not concerned about not being perfect? Especially with the Libra there, she might be sort of a B word about stuff like that. And so that's her 10th house. And then her 11th house of Scorpio means that Scorpions are her friend. I think she also has a Uranus in Scorpio as well. So just as I'm like, Capricorn's ugliness and limitations and abuse, and Libra's so freaking pretty. Scorpio or the 11th house, so actually like Aquarius in the 11th house, is like a a whole jug of espresso martini. It's like going to Costco. I mean, so is Capricorn a little bit too. It's like going to Costco. You know what I mean? It's like boundless. So you don't have, if you want to have your espresso martini garnished in a certain way, you can go to Costco. You can get giant bottles of alcohol, giant jugs of coffee, it pre-mixed together, the oranges, the cinnamon, whatever else that you're garnishing it with, and have it in bulk. Um, and your friends might help you, might go out with your friends. It's fun, it's nice. That's Aquarius. So enough about espresso martini, and so I mean these energies are very reflexive because it's like you got Pluto in the 10th house with Libra, but the 10th house talks about Capricorn, Pluto talks about Scorpio, Libra talks about bringing those energies into balance. Um, and then in her 11th house, 11 is Aquarius. We got Scorpio and then Uranus here. So it's like something, she'd be doing things with her friends. Scorpios are good friends to her. She does live a very spiritual life, and probably believes in magic, and it's like boundless. So she might even be a part of some sort of like internet network of like psychics or witches or something like that. Like, what do you call it? It's not that rare nowadays. Like Kasamba or something like that. And Keen, Kasamba, whatever, some stuff like that. And she might work there. Yeah, and then her 12th house, she has Sagittarius and also Neptune. So I didn't, I don't have a 12th house in Sagittarius, but I do feel, I mean, I'm a Pisces. I do feel very 12th house about Sagittarian energy a lot of the times because I love to drink. I don't need it to be a drinking competition every time we drink. I love to party. Don't need it to be a party competition. And look how good you are at partying. So that kind of it makes me sad. I'm just like I don't even want to hang out with you because like you like Sagittarius, like Sun Sagittarius. I'm like, oh, I feel like you hate me, but it's like you enjoy hating me and hating on me, but I don't want to be around that energy, and it makes me like sort of miserable. So with her, like Neptune also in the 12th house, Pisces ruling planet, it's like some Sagittarius that she was very competitive with helped her get on television and helped start her career, but they're also very like competitive with her. So it seems very like Mean Girls, like, oh, audition for this movie, they're gonna have you like playing an idiot, and then she does it and she's great, and now I'm reading her natal chart and she's Zooey Deschanel, and whoever that person is nameless. But yeah, but I mean, I mean, and then also to say that, I mean, it could be another celebrity, Almost Famous. I feel like Almost Famous talks about Woodstock era and said like I keep talking about, Sagittarius is connected with like Jim Morrison and Jimi Hendrix and Woodstock and blah 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 and the Zayn Malik video. Um, so now, in addition to me googling her Chinese zodiac sign, I'm also going to watch a whole YouTube video of what the hell happens in Almost. I've seen Almost Famous before. This blonde chick, I remember her. Who's Zoe Deschanel in Almost Famous? I've never done this for anybody. I never do this for anybody in any of the other videos, and I'm not going to. And the thing is too, because I just don't want to keep adding like as someone with a lot of Aquarius in my chart, I just don't want to add a bunch of different sections to every new person that I do or every new sign because then it won't be like the same. And the Pisces ones are already like completely different than the Aquarius ones. And not to give myself a God complex, but I'm like, this is probably how God feels. Like, like I created these people. I don't know. They had their names branded on them for whatever reason. I didn't like it. I had them get that removed. New design. Okay, so I'm not saying who she is in this movie, but I don't even know if this is the right movie. Maybe I should Google Zoe Deschanel and Almost. I mean, I don't know any of the characters' names, so it's not gonna like matter. I can keep calling her Zoe Deschanel too. Is that a person? Zoe or Chloe? Zoe? Okay, she was an elf. I knew that. So now this is the trivia part. Oh, she had blonde hair. Okay, interesting. Didn't recognize her a little bit. She's an elf. I'm right. 10 points Gryffindor. And then it said almost famous. I have no idea. Oh, was she the mother in the Elton John movie? Is that what I'm looking at here? I kind of remember something like that. So anyway, as I'm saying, like her career is over. She's like probably in the Elton John movie and stuff too. So anyway, okay, that's Zooey Deschanel. Thank you so much for listening, subscribing, and sharing with your favorite Capricorn rising Aquarius. You can see, or no, Capricorn rising Capricorn, so that you can see how similar they are to Zooey Deschanel and tell them secretly how cute they are. And thank you, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.